Have you ever noticed that even when everything seems fine, your mind still refuses to be quiet? You wake up thinking about yesterday's mistakes. You spend the whole day worrying about tomorrow. You compare yourself with people who seem happier than you. You keep searching for peace, but the more you chase it, the farther it feels. Some people believe that money will bring peace. Others think success, relationships, or a better house will finally make them calm. But after getting those things, many people still feel empty. Maybe the biggest problem is not that life is noisy. Maybe the biggest problem is that our minds never stop making noise. If you also feel tired because of overthinking, stress, regret, or the pressure to always do more, then this story is for you.
Hello everyone, my name is Wali, and today I want to share the story of an old man named Alexander. It is a story set many years ago, but its lesson is more valuable today than ever before. Listen until the end, because one simple decision changed Alexander's life forever, and maybe it can change yours too.
Many years ago, there was a small village surrounded by green hills, quiet rivers, and old trees that had stood there for generations. In that village lived an old man named Alexander. People respected him, but very few understood him. Every morning before sunrise, Alexander walked slowly toward a hill outside the village, carrying nothing except a wooden walking stick and a small cloth bag. He would sit under the same old oak tree for hours. He did not pray loudly. He did not read books. He did not speak to anyone. He simply sat there in silence. The villagers laughed at him.
What a waste of time,
Some would say.
If he worked harder, he could earn more.
He has become strange.
Alexander never answered. He simply smiled. One afternoon, a young traveler named Ethan arrived in the village. Unlike the others, Ethan noticed something unusual. Alexander's clothes were old. His house was small. He owned almost nothing. But whenever people insulted him, he remained calm. Whenever something went wrong, he never seemed angry. His face carried a quiet peace that Ethan had never seen before. Ethan had traveled through many cities. He had met rich merchants, famous soldiers, respected teachers, and powerful leaders. All of them had money, all of them had influence, but none of them looked as peaceful as this old man. The next morning, Ethan decided to follow Alexander. He quietly walked behind him until Alexander reached the oak tree. Alexander smiled without turning around.
"You have been following me since sunrise,"
He said gently. Ethan felt embarrassed.
I'm sorry.
"There is no need to apologize.
Alexander replied.
If someone follows peace, he is already walking in the right direction."
Ethan sat beside him. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. The silence became uncomfortable. Finally, Ethan asked,
Everyone says you own nothing, yet you look happier than anyone I have ever met. What is your secret?
Alexander picked up a small stone from the ground.
"What do you see?"
A stone.
Alexander nodded. He placed the stone into Ethan's hand.
"Hold it."
Ethan held it. After 1 minute, Alexander asked,
"Is it heavy?
No,
How does it feel now?"
my hand is getting tired.
Alexander smiled.
"Keep holding it."
Another 15 minutes passed. Now Ethan's arm started shaking.
It hurts.
He admitted. Alexander asked quietly,
Has the stone become heavier?
No,
Then why does it hurt?
because I have been holding it for too long.
Alexander looked toward the river flowing beside the hill.
Our worries are exactly like this stone. Holding them for a moment helps us learn. Holding them for days makes us tired. Holding them for years slowly destroys us.
Ethan remained silent. Alexander continued. Most people are not suffering because life is difficult. They are suffering because they refuse to put the stone down. Those words stayed inside Ethan's mind, but he was not fully convinced. It sounds simple, Ethan said. But people cannot just stop worrying. Alexander smiled. You are right. If peace were easy, everyone would have it. He slowly stood up and asked Ethan to follow him. Instead of returning to the village, Alexander walked deeper into the forest. After almost an hour, they reached a beautiful lake. The water was so clear that the clouds reflected perfectly on its surface. Alexander filled a wooden cup with water. Then he picked up a handful of dry soil and dropped it into the cup. The water immediately became muddy. Drink it, Alexander said. Ethan looked at the dirty water. I can't. Alexander nodded. Then he threw another handful of soil into the huge lake. Within seconds, the soil disappeared. The lake remained clear. What changed? Alexander asked. Ethan thought carefully. The amount of water. Alexander smiled again. Exactly. The problem was never the soil. The problem was the size of the container. When your mind becomes small, every little problem makes your whole life cloudy. But when your heart becomes bigger through patience, kindness, gratitude, and understanding, the same problem loses its power. Ethan looked across the peaceful lake. For the first time in many years, he stopped thinking about his failures. He stopped thinking about the people who had disappointed him. He simply watched the gentle waves touching the shore. Alexander sat quietly beside him. Neither of them spoke. The wind moved through the trees. Birds sang in the distance. And for a few brief moments, Ethan experienced something he had been searching for his entire life, a mind that was finally still. But Alexander knew this peaceful moment was only the beginning. The greatest lesson was still waiting for Ethan, and it would come from an unexpected visitor who would arrive in the village before the next sunrise. The next morning, before the first light reached the village, a horse stopped outside Alexander's small house. A well-dressed man stepped down. His name was Victor. He was one of the richest merchants in the kingdom. His clothes were expensive. His horse was strong. His bags were full of gold. Yet his face looked tired. His eyes were filled with fear. I have traveled for many days looking for you, Victor said. The people say you are the wisest man alive. Alexander smiled gently. I am just an old man. Victor shook his head. I have everything people dream about, but I cannot sleep. I cannot enjoy my food. I cannot trust anyone. Every day I fear losing what I have. Alexander looked at Ethan. This is another lesson. The three of them walked toward the old oak tree. Victor spoke without stopping. My business keeps growing. My houses keep getting bigger. My money keeps increasing. But my peace keeps disappearing. I protect my money all day. I worry about my enemies. I worry about thieves. I worry about tomorrow. I don't even remember the last time I smiled from my heart. Alexander quietly listened. When Victor finally stopped speaking, Alexander asked only one question. When was the last time you watched a sunrise without thinking about work? Victor stayed silent. When was the last time you ate because you were hungry instead of because it was time? Again, Victor had no answer. When was the last time you thanked life for what you already had? Victor slowly looked down. I don't remember. Alexander picked up a dry leaf that had fallen from the tree. He held it in front of them. Do you know why this leaf is beautiful? Neither Ethan nor Victor answered. It does not fight the wind. When the time comes, it lets go. Alexander released the leaf. The wind carried it across the field. It did not complain. It did not resist. It simply moved with the wind until it rested gently on the ground. Alexander looked at both men. People lose peace because they want to control everything. They want every person to understand them. They want every plan to succeed. They want life to happen exactly as they imagine. But life has never worked that way. The moment you stop trying to control everything, your heart becomes lighter. Victor asked softly, "So should I stop working?" Alexander smiled. "No. Work with your hands. Do not carry your work inside your heart. Earn money. Do not let money own your mind. Love people. Do not expect them to be perfect. Make plans. But remember that life may write a different ending." Ethan felt every word deeply. For the first time, he understood that peace was not something people found. It was something they protected. Days passed.
Ethan stayed with Alexander, helping him in small daily tasks. They repaired broken fences. They planted trees. They shared food with hungry families. Alexander never rushed. Even while working, he looked peaceful. One evening, Ethan finally asked, "Master, what is the greatest secret of your life?" Alexander looked toward the setting sun. "When I was young, I wanted to change the whole world. When I became older, I wanted to change the people around me. When I became old, I realized the only person I truly needed to change was myself." Ethan felt tears in his eyes. Alexander continued, "I wasted many years fighting things I could never control. But the day I accepted life instead of fighting it, peace quietly entered my heart." Several months later, Alexander became very weak. The villagers gathered around his small house. Even those who had laughed at him came to see him. Victor returned from the city. Ethan sat beside Alexander's bed. Alexander smiled one last time. He pointed toward the window. Outside, children were laughing, birds were singing. The trees were moving with the wind. "Life has always been peaceful," he whispered. "We were simply too busy to notice." Those were his final words. Alexander closed his eyes peacefully. The room was silent. No one cried loudly. Instead, everyone felt something they had never experienced before: gratitude. Years passed. Ethan became an old man himself. Every morning he walked to the same oak tree. Whenever someone asked him where he had learned to live peacefully, he would simply smile and say, "From a man who owned almost nothing, yet possessed everything that truly mattered." That old oak tree still stood on the hill. Many people visited it hoping to find peace. But they slowly realized something important. Peace was never hidden inside the tree. It was hidden inside the way they chose to live.
My friend, this story changed the way I think. I learned that peace of mind does not come after you solve every problem. It comes when you stop giving every problem permission to control your life. We cannot control what people say. We cannot control the past. We cannot control every future situation. But we can control our response. We can choose gratitude instead of constant comparison. We can choose forgiveness instead of carrying old pain. We can choose to enjoy today's small moments instead of waiting for the perfect life. Remember this: a calm mind makes better decisions than a worried mind. A grateful heart enjoys more than a rich heart. And a peaceful person is often stronger than the loudest person in the room. If this story touched your heart, let me know in the comments what brought you peace today. Don't forget to watch my previous story, No Way Back. It is about making a decision so powerful that quitting is no longer an option. If you want to build discipline, courage, and unstoppable commitment, I truly believe you will enjoy that story as well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of your mind, take care of your heart, and I will see you in the next story.